What is up, No Walls? Well, we are back.
We are back.
This is, I guess it's cool to do seasons and podcasts. So I guess it's like season 2 for us.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't really know what the criteria for a season is, but we are officially in our second iteration. There's video, cameras taking place.
Yep.
We're going to be looking at each other.
Yep.
It's almost like worse. Because like before you just blame things not being good on like, everybody hates their voice, but like, what if you hate your face?
Right.
You can't really you can't really do a whole lot. But man, we are excited you're here. First thing is give us a subscribe. Like, comment, share. We do this because we love it, but it helps us love it more when other people love it too. So we believe in what we're doing, the conversation we're having. So if you can, before we get too far into the conversation, just take a moment to subscribe, to like, to follow us on all the channels, so that you know what's happening, stay up to date with all the things that we are doing, No Walls related and Brick Church oriented. So what are we going to talk about today?
So today, I thought we'd have a conversation about the church. The church means a lot to us because we work at one and we are in
Your
one.
hat says Yahweh.
And my hat says Yahweh right now. It says Yahweh is the world champion. So
yeah. So I mean, we're pretty much already putting it out there.
Yeah, that's an indication of something.
If somehow you made it through all the No Walls podcasts, you didn't know that we liked the church. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, you missed something for sure. And so, I kind of want to talk about the church and its relationship with culture. We do a thing called Brick groups here at the church, and they're these like small groups that we do, and we have a semester that we're doing right now we've been doing for the past 5 weeks. This is the 6th week, so this will be the last one. And we had a similar conversation to this, and I thought it was interesting. And so, what is your take right now on, like, how well do you think the church understands our current culture?
Well, that's like,
That's
a loaded question.
It's a very loaded question.
I mean, I assume you're speaking like capital C church, not so much us oriented. I don't think it understands it particularly great. I don't know that the way the capital C church has always been structured has ever really done that great a job at adapting and kind of assessing the lay of the land. We get kind of like it's wild that like your strength can be your weakness. And so the strength of something that's ancient because it's been around for a really, really long time. Yeah. The weakness of something that's ancient is it's been around a really, really long time. And so it has a hard time reinterpreting itself. It doesn't mean the message is changing or even the truth is any different. It's just the way you're communicating. It has to look different because you're talking to a totally different people. Yeah. Imagine using, how many times have you heard a pastor or a preacher use the illustration like, the darkness doesn't push the light out, the light pushes the darkness out. Yeah. It's like, what do you mean? Like, well, if you go into a bedroom and you flip a light switch on, what happens? The darkness flees. Yeah. Well, imagine talking to somebody like 300 years ago. Yeah. The what? Right. The light?
Yeah. You mean the candle?
Like, what are we saying right now? Like a switch. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's it's kind of like a broken illustration, but it's kind of my point is that I think every generation has to figure out how to take the heartbeat of who God is and who Jesus is and what the church is supposed to be and try to reimagine how to communicate that in a way that makes it make sense without, robbing the truth and the validity and the power of what the message actually itself is. So how well do I think the church understands culture? I would say not very well. I think there are exceptions to the rules, but I think there's some gaps. I think there's some moments where we have a hard time connecting with people because we get safe in here, where we all kind of know the language and the things to do, and we get away from talking to people who don't.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you feel like the church is getting better or worse at that?
I'm probably going to have a different take than a lot of people, bro, because I love the church. I think it's getting better. I mean, I think it's easy to try to crap on this thing. It's almost cool now, which is wild. It's wild too because like I'm a podcast freak, so I'll find like faith-based or church podcasts, and half the time it feels like we're crapping on the church.
Yeah.
Because I think we're trying to build. And I actually think it's getting better. I mean, I think, like I said, it's difficult. It's difficult to adapt when you're doing something that's built on hundreds and thousands of years of history. But I see it. Like, I see the attempt. I see the desire to reach people. And maybe it's not going quite as fast as I would like or someone else would like, but I see it. Like,
Yeah.
I see that it's different. I'm seeing conversations make it into pulpits that weren't being had before. I see ideas and creativity coming out of the church that didn't happen before. Like, if you'd asked me to watch, shoot, they did ask me. When people ask me to watch The Chosen,
Yeah.
I'm good, bro.
Yeah.
Kai Slow played the mess out of that thing. I didn't start watching The Chosen until the 3rd season was out because I excuse me, I didn't think there's any way in the world that it was going to be good.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because church media sucks.
Yeah.
Christian content sucks. That was my narrative. And then I got into it, and I'm like, oh, this is actually good.
Yeah.
Because storytelling's fantastic. It's not just corny and cheesy like every other piece of Christian content I've ever seen. And it started making me have hope, and realizing, like, man, it's out there.
Yeah.
Listen, as much as I want to see the world change, God does so much more.
Yeah.
As much as I want good things for people, God does so much more. As much as I want the church to be the beautiful, beautiful place that it was always supposed to be, God does so much more. And I think sometimes we get real comfortable picking apart other people's stuff, that we let that process get us into a place of, like, we're losing, as if like God's not trying to get to his people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's getting better.
Yeah.
And I can point to so many different things. There's so many different like places and opportunities and avenues where I see, like, the church is getting to the world. I can start hearing the conversations we're having with our students, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. This thing's catching. Like, this is taking and, I think it's going to keep moving that way.
Yeah. I think there are some, like, there are obviously some like pros and cons to everything. And this might be because I'm just paying attention to the church more lately, so this could also be a little biased. But I think the church is getting better as well, and I actually think the church has gotten like cooler in the last couple of years. Like, you're seeing like worship bands in the Grammys, which is absolutely
that is
wild.
wild.
Like, I did not think that would ever be a thing, and I don't think it ever was a thing until recently. So, like, that's pretty crazy. And then, like, I'm looking at like some of these churches.
You didn't see the Gaithers.
Right.
Dominating the Grammys.
Yeah, the Gaithers definitely were at the Grammys. Maverick City.
No shot at the Gaithers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No shot at the Gaithers. If you're a Gaithers person, you do your thing. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Get your Gaither on.
Yeah.
But, I'm fairly confident they didn't get any guest appearances at the Grammys.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's just stuff like that. And then, like, the other thing is, like,
Cool, shoot, Chance the Rapper a couple years ago.
yeah.
Didn't he do like a whole, like, he did a whole song and mashup or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was at some of that stuff. And there's like a lot of like intertwining happening. I think Chance was playing a show, and like he was like the headliner, and I think like Brandon Lake or something was like playing the show with him. It was like this Christian mashup concert thing, and then like, I mean, you see like Justin Bieber singing at Church Home. And things like there's like I feel like there's a lot more mashing of culture than there was before. When used to, I feel like there was like this like dividing line where it was like in the churches I grew up in, like there was a super harsh line between like what was considered secular and what was considered sacred, and like
that's good.
it was like and I do think that there is a line there a lot of times. It's just like there was like the line was so harsh, and what I'm seeing now is like because I get to lead our creative team here, and I'm always trying to get like inspiration for it and things to post and things like that, and like what I'm seeing is that I'm actually not having to. While you can pull things from secular places, what I'm finding is like a lot of these churches are actually the forefront of creativity. Like they're like when I say a lot, there's like a few of them that are. I think the church should be that.
Yeah.
But like when I'm going to make content and stuff, like you're seeing that the church is actually doing a lot of really cool, really creative things first, and then like these big people, these places in Hollywood are seeing that and then replicating it later.
Do you have an example that comes to mind?
Yeah. So there was a time. In a church called Transformation Church, they did an illustration one time, or not an illustration. They did kind of like a fashion show because they came out with some new merch, and they were like, what would be really cool is if we could make it look like we're like walking on like water, kind of like kind of playing like the Jesus walking on water kind of thing. And they were like, so they made their stage look like it was water, and they pulled it off a certain way. And anyways, they said that like 3 months later, Kanye West is doing a fashion show, and he has his stage, and his people are walking on water the exact same way that
That is
transformation pulled it
wild.
off. And it's like, that's crazy. And like I don't, and like I said, I might not have been paying attention to it as much, but I don't remember growing up like seeing stuff like that happen as much. So do you agree with that take? Do you feel like the same things are happening, or?
So I don't think it was happening.
Okay.
Because I think, like I said, like we weren't moving quick enough. I mean, like the church was, like I said, the strength is the weakness, right?
Mhm.
So because it's so old and it's so ancient, it doesn't adapt fast. And so you had the boom in technology, like when I like so we're like 10 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was 16, the iPhone was getting released
Mhm.
and all these epic technology. I mean, the rate at which technology was moving from just when I was 16 to 24
Mm-hmm.
was outrageous. Like the speed at which it moved. And so what you had was a really old thing with all of these new informations. And
Yeah.
generally speaking, most churches aren't young.
Yeah.
And again, that is changing. But for the most part, they're not filled with a bunch of 25-year-olds. You've got gray heads and all these other things in the building, and that comes with strengths. But the weaknesses is when you don't have a lot of young people, you're not really adapting. So it took so long for churches to figure out how to use the information, how to use the technology, and what does that look like inside the church, and how do you implement that? And then, like, what do you do when something new shows up and you're powerful?
Yeah.
You try to keep it away.
Yeah.
And our natural instinct as human beings is almost always when we don't understand something, we try to push it out
Mm-hmm.
instead of trying
That's
to
good.
assess it. That's what the church has done largely throughout all of history is new shows up and
Mm-hmm.
we push that thing out. I don't know about that yet, so it can't come in. And you see, like, the tension Jesus has with the Pharisees is essentially they had their whole lives a very specific way they thought the Messiah was going to look and be and act. And then the Messiah does show up. Jesus does show up. And it's nothing like they expected.
Yeah.
And then they're faced with, no, for generations, this is what the law meant. This is what the Messiah was supposed to be. It's like, or did you read it wrong?
Yeah.
Are you so confident in your understanding of Scripture that you can't see the, like, God in the flesh in front of you? Like,
Yeah.
and I think the church has a tendency to do that is because we're trying so hard to be faithful and to love people well and to do the things that God's called us to that we get so confident in those structures. And then when I think God wants to shake it up,
Mm-hmm.
we blame it on culture. Wow, you can't do that, da-da-da. And so then you move slow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think it's catching up. And I think, like, COVID helped a lot
Mm-hmm.
in a weird way. Not that COVID's a good thing, but when you can't meet in person, churches had to get innovative. It forced people to have to kind of adapt to figure out how to do technology, how to get videos. And so now you have more content on YouTube and podcasts than you've ever had in history because so the church had to reach people and had to figure out how to do it. So, yeah, I mean, I think I think your take is right. I do think the church is starting to innovate, is starting to get creative. I think it's a beautiful thing. But what do you say to, like, what do you say to the people who would be like, well, you can't mix culture and Christ, right? Like, what do you say? Like, because like that's the take, right? The fear is if we try to adapt, if we try to reach, if we try to, tweak the look or the way we present it so that more people could come, well, then we're really just we're watering down the gospel, if you will.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
Yeah. So one thing that I think is interesting is whenever God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, he wrote them down on tablets, right? And that was the way that they could communicate with each other back then. And so, like, if we thought that the best way to get the gospel out to people now was the way that it had to be the way we used to do it, then we would be handing out these giant tablets to everyone, right?
Yeah.
But as, like, it progressed, and as we had, like, the scriptures, and then, like, the scriptures were word of mouth for a long time, and then, like, we started putting it on paper. I think it's just like we went from tablets to paper. I think we go from paper to live streams, and we go from, like, live streams and we go from, like, the Psalms on paper to music and to worship, and I think the medium changes, but the gauge isn't. Does the medium look secular? The gauge is the message secular, or is the message sacred? And I think like that's more what I think you would try to gauge that on.
That's good. How do you know if the message is secular, if it's sacred?
I think you have to measure it up against Scripture. Is what I'm saying. Am I telling people about Jesus? Am I telling people about God? Or am I telling people? I think that would have to be the gauge for it. Is you have to measure it up against Scripture. I don't know how else you would gauge that. Do you have a good gauge for that?
How to know when your message is going from sacred to
Yeah.
to secular?
Yeah, because that is a good question.
Yeah, I think for me it would be, when's the last time you said something that made somebody uncomfortable? To be clear, do not think our job is to try to make the gospel offensive. It's offensive enough. Like it don't need our help. Like telling people who've been hurt that they must find a way to forgive is an offensive thing to say to somebody. Saying that I am the only way to heaven is an unbelievably offensive thing to say to somebody if that's not something you want to subscribe to. So like, I don't think our job is to try to make Jesus seem mean. And I feel like that statement, the gospel's offensive, because it's really just a caveat for people to be jerks on stage.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that I've never in 30 years of life had a moment where I grew and it wasn't uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
ever.
that's good. Yeah.
Right? Like when I was 6 and I got my first growth spurt, right? That first one where you like grow real big, like my knees hurt.
Yeah.
I was 6. It
Yeah.
wasn't because I was old.
Yeah.
Because I was growing. And I think your message is starting to shift secular when like you aren't challenging your people.
That's good.
Because like, well, it's all seeker friendly. Listen, I ain't gonna apologize to a dang person.
Yeah.
TheBrick.Church is objectively seeker friendly.
Yeah.
I am trying to be so friendly to people who don't know Jesus, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not the friendliest person, but I'm trying really hard to be friendly. We are seeker friendly. I want to go make a t-shirt and put it on my chest so the whole world knows. In case this didn't make it clear, we are 1000% seeker friendly.
Yeah.
But we at the same time want to make sure that when you get here, it's an environment that is conducive for the gold that God put deep down inside your soul to flourish.
Yeah.
And for it to flourish means you are going to have to be challenged.
Yeah.
Which means, yes, we get it. You're messy and I'm messy and we're messy and this thing is messy. That's what makes the church amazing. It's just this hodgepodge of just really messy people and somehow it works.
Yeah.
However, we don't leave you messy.
Right.
Come in all jacked up and ragged and ratchet, but you stick around here long enough, what's going to happen is you're going to get drawn to who Jesus is.
Yeah.
And the process of following him is going to get you to slowly but surely become the fully devoted follower of Christ God's called you to be. To get you there, though, will mean, no, I get it. Yeah, that person was objectively a jerk, but like also slashing their tires, not a normal response.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but how'd they make you mad? I was like, I don't know. They didn't put their blinker on. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I actually like low key can't stand when people don't use their blinkers. It drives me crazy. You know what drives me crazy? I can't stand when people get in my kids' pickup line. They cut me.
Yeah.
Everything in me wants to put my foot on that pedal and just rear end them. But you know what I know? I know that's objectively like a ridiculous response. There, however, is a season of my life. I might have done that play.
Yeah.
But I've grown. And you got to have some season, some space in your life where people can tell you no, or can tell you can do better, or you can get better at that. And so I think for me, if I was to get really scared about, oh my gosh, are we no longer changing culture or helping culture, or are we becoming culture? Well, when's the last time you had someone be like, that was tough?
Yeah.
That was kind of hard to hear.
Yeah.
You know, like, are you seeing those moments? When's the last time you grew?
Yeah. Yeah.
Forget the people we're talking to, the person on the mic.
Yeah.
When's the last time the person preaching had a moment where they felt like they were being stretched?
Yeah.
Because I don't care who you are. If I'm talking to someone who's preaching or communicating anything about Jesus to a group of people, if I ask you, when's the last time you did something hard? When's the last time you did something that stretched you? When's the last time you did something that scared you? When's the last time you felt yourself grow? And your answer is like, I don't know, like 1892.
Yeah.
1890. Okay. I mean, it's a ridiculous number because no one would be alive in 1892. But the point being, like, if I ask you when the last time you're growing, you don't have an answer, then I would challenge you to, like, you might be missing that.
Yeah.
That's when you know. So to me, that's the and again, that's like a made up thing. I don't know if that's perfect or not, but I do know for me that would be how I would be trying to gauge it. Are we growing people? Are we stretching people? Are people getting better?
Yeah.
Because like if Jesus isn't in it, there won't be fruit.
Right.
But if you can look and you can see that marriages are restored, if you can look and you can see that people are better, if you can look and you can see that young men are becoming great husbands and young women are becoming great wives, and if you can see families are being whole, if you can see that people are making 10, 15, 20, 30 years of marriage together, like something's working.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
Yeah, that's good. I like the nuance of that too. It's scarier because it's easier to get to, I feel like, or it's like harder to gauge.
Yeah.
But like, I think I was more on the line of like, well, yeah, like, I mean, if you're saying like Satan is king, then that's obviously doesn't like that's whatever. But like the idea that like you can be up here preaching every Sunday or every Wednesday or whenever you're preaching, and if people aren't being challenged and you're at like nothing is being changed, then like you're not doing what you're called to do, and like that's kind of wild.
The other thing for me is like what's keeping people? You know, like, I mean, I hope we get to a place to where the church is like the prize jewel of creativity in the world.
Yeah.
But it's presently not. And if the whole goal is just to do something with a nice light show or cool screens or whatever, like, man, that stuff's going to fade out.
Yeah. Like,
someone's going to do it better than you somewhere else.
Yeah.
They need substance. There needs to be something that I'm being pulled to, something I'm being called to, something I feel like I'm being a part of. Mm-hmm. And I think if that's what you're chasing, I think God's absolutely in that.
Yeah.
Because I think there should be nuance. That's why you should be wrestling with this stuff. Like, no one should just be out here, no, I got it.
Right.
Like, no, you don't have it. None of us have it.
Yeah.
Like, none of us have it. Like I said, the Pharisees were students of law for decades.
Yeah.
And Jesus shows up. They didn't have nothing, bro. Like, they didn't have it. They were too confident, actually, in how much they thought they had. I think there should always be moments of times of reflection. Not just, like, for the church stuff, but, like, personally, too. Like, we should always be assessing, is it working?
Yeah.
Is it working? Is it working? 2 questions I would ask to figure out sacred or secular. Is it working? So people are growing, or are they showing up? Is it working? Da-da-da, right? Like, okay, cool. Yeah, but, like, you could get people here with, like, you know, $1 million if you get it on. You're right. All right. So, and then the second question I think you should ask, why is it working?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it working? If it's not working, then all right, well, then you might as well just stop doing what you're doing anyway. So, like, because clearly, like, all right, if it ain't working, it ain't working. So, stop doing things that don't work. Try again.
Yeah.
If you got the first part right, though, and it is working, then I think the second question you have to ask is, why is it working?
Yeah.
Why are they showing up? Why are they coming? Why are they apart? And you do that with your businesses, too, or your family or your kids. Like, oh, they're really good kids. Like, they seem to be growing really well. Why?
Yeah.
Because that's the secret sauce. Like, when you can figure out why they're growing, and that tell you a whole lot about what the intention you have behind it is.
Yeah.
And I think secular versus sacred has everything to do with the heart.
Yeah.
What it is I'm trying to do. Am I trying to get people in a building, or I'm trying to see people become more like Jesus?
Yeah.
It's the same. It can be.
Yeah.
But not always. And that's why we need to be searching our motives. That's not like that scripture David prays, like, search my heart, O Lord. Help me see all of its wicked ways. Like, I think we should have that prayer on our lips always. Like, always, like, God, help me. Just make sure. You know, like any season of success and growth where things are working, you want to make sure you're double aware of kind of like what's going on in the heart, what you're chasing, why you're chasing it. Because there's just so much nuance.
Yeah. I think one of the things I've been processing lately is like, bro, I really do. I do just think the church is like the coolest thing in the world. Like,
dude, I love this place.
Yeah, yeah, and like this place specifically, but like the Capital C Church also. Like, bro, I love listening to sermons. I love watching other people's worship. I love just diving into like how another church operates, how our church operates, like what we could do better, and like being on this side of things, like. Obviously, I feel like I'm called to help build this thing. So, like, that might be part of that. But, like, what does it look like to get a community of people thinking that the church is just the coolest thing in the world?
Yeah, I think the question is the problem. I think the question of, like, well, how do we make this thing super cool? It ain't going to be cool. That's got like big time like Gary energy from Jimmy Fallon. Like you're the weird stepdad trying to be cool with the kids. It doesn't land right. Like, listen, bro. Like anytime you're chasing cool, it's going to fail.
Yeah.
I think it starts with, do you like being a part of it?
Yeah.
Is it good to you?
Yeah.
Do you love this place? Is this place cool to you?
Yeah.
Like, we tell our switch leaders all the time, like, if you love doing what you do, then people are going to love doing it with you.
Yeah. That's good.
And so for me, I think the first thing is like, are the people here loving it?
Yeah.
If you get that first domino to fall, the rest will fall with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 30, 22.
Yep.
In the eyes of the world, we're relatively young people. Why are we at church?
Yeah.
Like, why this place?
Yeah.
Like, we're young enough to go do anything we want. I mean, I get it. I'm not 20, but I'm still plenty young enough to go do literally anything else I want. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Me neither.
I love this place, bro. I love it all. I love the pageantry. Like, I love the worship. I love the high fives at the door. I love the snacks that we give people, bro. I like the goofy things to do, like last Wednesday night, Trending Truth.
Yeah.
You take viral videos. You're preaching sermons out of it, man. I love it all. I love changing seating around.
Yeah.
Because Easter's coming up. And like, all right, I love the idea that we're just going to change something because we're tired of looking at the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we tried to shoot the first video of this podcast. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
We got a rug this time because we decided we want something else. Like, I like that. I like processing how to figure out, is this thing worth changing? Is it not worth changing? I like the messiness of, I've only got X amount of time. Where's the best place for me to invest my time? I love all of it. I love watching people create songs. I love watching people build worship sets. I love watching Trevor worship with his team.
Yeah.
I love watching our hosting pastor, Tiffany, run her host team. I love watching people show up to brick groups. I love listening to Jared preach. I love listening to Ryan preach. I love listening to you preach. I like the art of communication.
Yeah.
Because the journey of taking an idea that you feel like heaven gave you, and then you having to walk that thing out for a week to try to figure out, how do I best communicate that to a group of people in a way that they don't just hear it, but they believe it and they walk it out. I love that, bro. I love watching people who never thought in a million years God could use them be the very people God is using to set people free. I love all of it. I love seeing people come in looking ragged and broken and not sure they belong and sticking around just long enough to find that they got a new job, that there are people around them that love them, that their family is healthy, that their kids are healthy, that they're growing, that they're thriving. I love it. I love the life change. I love the stories of people who come into the church and they're one way when they got here and they're another way when they leave. Like, I love all of it. Yeah. I love the church. I love that the most ragtag group of people are the very people God wants to use to communicate his heart to the world.
Yep.
Crow, like, if you only knew, how messy our team was. Yeah. How imperfect we were. And we try really hard to make sure it's clear that we ain't got it all together. But, like, honestly, look, if you knew how messy some of us really were, like, you might be asking whether or not this is, like, home for you. So, like, for real, like, the idea that all of it, the baggage we bring, the fears we have, the insecurities we have, that we get to be in a place every single week where we are surrounded with human beings that want to talk about Jesus. That want to grow together, kind of want to pray for each other. Kind of when people are having babies, you've got a community of people flooding to make sure that you got your bills covered and you got food given to you, that in our darkest moments of our lives, that there is a community of people that don't judge us for where we are, but get in the mess with us, hug us until we can stand again and walk us out the mess. Yeah. That's why I love the church. Yeah. I love the church because I was an angry, broken, confused, lost 16-year-old kid. Yep. And it breathed purpose into me. Yeah. It saw something in me. And because it did that, I started to believe that maybe, just maybe, everything that people said about Jesus, maybe it was true. And I had people in the church hold me until I could stand on my own. Yeah. And then I started walking, and I started finding out that his word really is a lamp unto my feet, a light into my path. So you hear someone talk about the church like that. Yeah. Who doesn't want to be a part of that, bro?
Yeah.
How do you not want to come sit in that? And it's getting people to feel that, to see that, to believe that, and it's happening. It's why we're growing. It's why you're seeing people show up. It's why you're seeing hands get raised like crazy. It's why you see the student ministry growing, because people are finding out, like, okay, that's a little different.
Yeah.
That's wild. They let me take my cup of coffee into the sanctuary.
Yeah.
What? They really did? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did that person high-fived me at a door?
Yeah.
I ain't been high-fived since I played Little League football. What? This is the last time you got a high-five. And we're all giggling about how silly that is, bro. But it's uncommon. It's rare.
Yeah.
It's unique. And it comes from a place of people who just love this.
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't think that the job is so much to make it cool as much as try to really take some moments of gratitude and to see what it is.
Yeah.
Quit being so concerned with what should be or shouldn't be or what's wrong in the world, and just take some time to realize, like, hold up. Okay, yeah, almost nothing in life is exactly how it should be, but we are called to build it, and we can if we come together.
Yeah.
So
That's
for
good.
me, bro, I love this place. I don't want to be nowhere else. I don't want to do nothing else. And I plan on spending the rest of my life trying to build this place, the local church, wherever it be, whatever it looks like, however God says to do it. I want to be in that place doing that, because that is where people get better.
Yeah.
Not just get new tools or tricks or steps to take. No. Healing takes place.
Yeah.
God's doing a deep work in people. People who never thought they'd be clean are clean.
Yeah.
People who never thought they'd be healthy are healthy.
Yeah.
People who are sick and couldn't come out are getting healed, bro.
Yeah.
We're seeing people get healed.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Only God could do that stuff, man. We're seeing people who are so sure. This last couple of weeks, one of our leaders had some really scary blood work come back, and, like, man, was sure that it was going to be cancer, and just found out today, or just found out last week, like, it ain't cancer, bro.
Yeah. Only
Like,
God does
what?
that.
Only God does that, bro. Every marker suggested that's what it was. Oh, actually, no, it's not. And in fact, Wednesday night we found out, actually, everything else is on the up.
Yeah.
Right? Blood levels are getting good. Things are coming down. I'm like, what is happening? It's like, bro, God is a healer.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You hear stories like that, bro. Yeah, dog, Yahweh's the world champion.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Who don't want to play on his team? So for
Yeah.
me, that's it. I want to have a blast. I want to have a good time. I want to be thankful. I want to have that God kind of pride where it's like, I'm thankful and proud of the thing that God is allowing me to be a part of building. And if you can get more conversations like that out in the world, quit picking apart all the churches that don't work.
Yeah.
Tell me about the one you love.
Yeah.
Why do
That's
you
so
love it?
good.
Why
Yeah.
do you show up?
Yeah.
Why do you keep coming?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Think about that. I want to know that answer, and go tell somebody that answer.
Yeah.
You want some homework today if you're listening to No Walls? Here's the homework. Go tell somebody why you love your church.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so good. Yeah. The other thing about the church that is wild to me, and I was processing this yesterday actually, or 2 days ago, I guess, is like I think, like, obviously we think eternities are a big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what this whole thing is about. And I think sometimes, like, you hear that word over and over again, like eternities, and, like, we're talking about eternities all the time. The word's just getting thrown around. But it is literally like, we believe in the Son of God, therefore we have eternal life, right? And we get to spend every Sunday, every Wednesday, and every day that's not Sunday and Wednesday planning on how we can invite more people into eternity with us. That is wild. And we see it happen every single Sunday and Wednesday.
Yeah,
and
we
it's the
do.
craziest thing.
It's wild too, because it ain't just us. Like, I mean, yeah, we're talking about what it's like to be to be on the staff, to be pastors doing
Yeah.
it, but it's like everyone gets to be a part of that.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because every other organization in the world really is built on the personality, not the church.
Yeah.
The church is so much bigger than a person with a platform.
Yeah.
Or a person with a microphone, or people shooting a podcast.
Yeah.
It's the people listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
It's the people in the seats at the church.
Yeah.
Now,
That's
this
so
thing
good.
goes big
Yeah.
when it's not just us talking, it's us talking.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not just me and you or whoever's on the stage. No, it's the whole room.
Yeah.
It's that person sharing their story, and that person sharing that story, and that person sharing their story. No, that's when this thing gets different.
Yeah.
When people start talking about how good God's been to them, no, you got to hear the sermon that my pastor preached. No. I mean, like, do whatever it takes to get them here.
Yeah.
Hopefully our sermons don't suck and you want to listen to them, but
Yeah.
so much more than that. Tell them why you keep coming.
Yeah.
Because when you share your story, that's where it changes. Like that's why like I love the idea that like the church is a hospital for the broken.
Yeah.
Like if you could just get them in the room,
Yeah.
God could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the most powerful thing in the world is a church full of people who love their church.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to change your city? That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You want to change the world? It starts there.
Yeah.
Get a church full of people who love their church and then want to tell somebody else about it.
Yeah.
When we give out invite cards every week, and you can hear that all the time as if that's not a big deal. No. Please do not mistake it. That invite is an opportunity for God to change somebody's life.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
you're talking about Jesus a lot. It's a church podcast.
Yeah.
What did you think no walls meant?
Yeah.
We're trying to take the walls out of this building. It's so much more than a platform. It's the whole thing. Like it's every person in this building feeling like they are called to get people to Jesus. It looks different person to person. Well, I'm not called to be on stage. Thank God you're not called to be on stage.
Yeah.
There's enough of us. There's a lot of us out here. No. Thank God that you are bold enough to go have a conversation in your workplace because I can't go there right now.
Right.
Thank God that you're willing to talk to your kids about Jesus so that they can be the next generation of people who know how to love humans well.
Yeah.
No, that's no
good.
Walls.
Yeah.
That's what this is. That's
Yeah.
taking the heartbeat of who Jesus is to the entire world. No. God chose for whatever reason to put us in this moment to have this conversation. But it's not this conversation. It's what you do with this conversation that matters.
Yeah.
It's not our words or how well we clip these clips or make the videos look. No. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
That's where the secret sauce is. The secret sauce is whether or not our audience cares enough to activate on any of it.
Yeah.
But I can assure you that if you will go tell the world about how much you love your church, how much you love your Jesus, then God can do absolutely anything. 'Cause it's all he's ever needed. Scripture says. I mean, like, I get it. It's church, but that's what we do.
Yeah.
You will overcome the enemy
Yeah.
by the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony.
Yeah.
Your testimony matters, and it is the most beautiful story you'll ever tell. The story of how you found Jesus.
Yeah.
No one can tell it like you.
Mm-mm.
So go tell it.
Yeah.
Go get it to some people and watch what God can do with that.
Yeah.
That's the power of the church, is that we're willing to go to the highways and the byways and to talk to people about how good our God is.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't understand. That's okay. Come check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Come attend with me. I got a seat saved for you. Come sit next to me. Get in this church. You'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't communicate it the best, but you can see I'm different now.
Yeah.
And let that data point be enough to just get you curious enough to get in the room. If you'll get in the room, you'll find out just like I did. This thing is different.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Bro, I think that is a great place to end this thing.
I love
Let's
it.
go out. Let's tell our testimonies. Do something with this conversation.
Spread the word.
Spread the word.
Tell somebody why you love your church. It's the hope
Absolutely.
of the world.
I love that action step so much. I love it so much. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Like, for real, we appreciate you guys like crazy. Like this thing, subscribe to this thing. It helps us out. And like Taylor said, like get the word out. Like, it really is crazy how much life change can happen from an invitation and from a conversation. And so, yeah, let's get this thing out. Let's do this thing.
Let's do it.
Love you like crazy, bro.
Love you, sir.